Welcome back to Rip City Rundown, episode number 7. And today we will be talking about all the NBA series to a lesser extent and the Portland Trailblazers stealing Game 1 on the road in Denver at Ball Arena against a Jamal Murray-less Denver Nuggets team.
Love to see it.
And the Portland Trailblazers are 1-0 in the series in a stolen home court.
Started slow, turned it on in the second half. Didn't play our best basketball and still won.
That's the crazy thing. That's the really good thing to see. I really don't think the Blazers will have any. I don't want to say it. I just think the Blazers are a better team than Denver at this point in the season.
We got key contributions off the bench, which we'll get in later. But Dame was really the only starter that was going off.
Yeah, let's just do our around the league recap really quick. Okay, so the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Miami Heat by 2 in overtime. Chris Middleton with a huge shot with 0.5 seconds left. And I think the Heat are fine. Jimmy Butler, 4 for 22 from the field, 2 of 9. Really, really bad. Bam, it was good defense, but he didn't even play particularly well. He shot 4 for 15. And so I think if the Heat can get those two guys going, it's not like the Bucks played bad. They just played a solid game.
I think if you look at it from both sides are feeling good because if you're the Heat, you lost by 2 points, and your stars played terribly. And then for the Bucks, you made only 5 threes. You shot 16% from 3, and you still won.
True. I think every game.
You're not getting your free throws either.
I think no matter what, every game is going to come down to the final minute. I think this is one of the best series. I think it goes to 6 or 7. That's kind of not. I say it goes to 7. I think it's 7 games. But for the Bucks, the Bucks need to win this series for Giannis. And let me just say, as a Blazers fan, if Giannis continues to get bounced in the first round, he will want out of Milwaukee. Damian Lillard will pull the strings, and you never know what can happen. So root for the Heat here.
Sure.
Also, I just like Jimmy Butler. He's an ultimate competitor. He reminds me of Dame in a way with that. But yes, Milwaukee wins by 2. Next series.
Want to go
Dallas.
Dallas
beats the Clippers, which I find very funny, entertaining.
After all that manifesting from the Clippers to try to not technically get Dallas, but avoid the Lakers.
Clippers finagled the seeds to get what they wanted. They draw Dallas. It's probably the Clippers will never admit it, but it's who they wanted. And Dallas goes on the road to Staples and beats them by 10. Okay. That is great
Clippers,
stuff.
Similarly to the Heat, probably shouldn't feel terrible. Clippers are one of the best offenses in the league. I think them, the Nets, and I think even the Blazers are top 10 offenses of all time. And
that would make sense.
The Clippers shot the ball terribly from 3. They were the best 3-point shooting team from the league. Shot 27%. Paul George, saw Pandemic P was trending first quarter.
Yeah,
he played a little better in the second half, but
he shoots 8 for 18, which isn't bad. But you just as a star on your team, you just need to either. I don't know. I just feel like Paul George never really shows it in the playoffs. And last year, Dallas, pushed the Clippers to 6. It never felt like Dallas had a chance in the bubble. And, it was like Clippers were always moving on. But when you steal Game 1,
on the road,
you can lose the next 2 and be right in the series with a home game to tie the series. So this series will definitely be going 6 or 7. I do not anticipate the Clippers winning 4 in a row, obviously.
I'm just glad.
Luka with a triple-double.
Luka in his young playoff career has been crazy. 31, 11,
he did.
And 10.
Okay.
He got the triple-double with a minute left, but still very impressive from him. But I'm just so glad we're not paying a 7'3" guard max money on the Blazers. Porzingis makes me so mad. We don't
So
need to worry about him, but
I know Blazer fans, and this relates to the Blazers in this way. I know Blazer fans get upset when Nurkic kind of tippy-toes around the rim and doesn't hammer it home and flip shots, which, by the way, last night he did good. He absolutely dropped the anvil on Aaron Gordon. And then he also had the other one off the timeout on the side pick and roll with Powell.
Porzingis is that
guy.
Thousands.
Porzingis just chucks threes and he thinks he's trying to be like Melo, but 7-3. It's really frustrating if I was a Dallas fan. But that aside, Dallas goes up by 10 and eventually wins it by 10 on the road at Staples. Next game, the one right before us was the Celtics and Nets. And to be honest, I didn't watch much of this game.
Me either.
Because, I thought Nets would take it. And I will probably watch the game later in the series just because who doesn't want to watch Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden. But only by 11. And to be honest, I think it was closer than 11.
From what I saw, heard, read, Nets struggled in the first. They were really struggling in the first half to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Celtics played great defense, but then shots are going to fall at some point, and then the Nets just ran away with it. And the defense was actually the reason the Nets won this game.
It was honestly like a tale of two halves. It was Boston shot great, Nets didn't, and then it was the second half. But when you have it's Tatum and we'll go 1.5 stars. Tatum and Kemba against 3 bona fide stars. I mean the Nets if they play defense, I don't see them losing the East. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the championship outright. Yeah. I mean, you never know. Let's go Blazers now. Let's talk Blazers.
Before we go Blazers,
okay.
ESPN dropped the ball.
I was actually gonna say that.
I'm going in order here, and I don't care about 2 no-name boxers. I know a lot of you guys
top rank of boxing.
Like, what happened to ESPN?
Yeah, I was going through Twitter around 10:30ish when the game was supposed to start, and us living on the East Coast, we're already staying up late for games, and
we want to watch the games.
We want to watch the game. We don't want the game to start at 10:43 when it says 10:30, and we have to watch freaking boxing.
ESPN shouldn't give their primetime West Coast game ESPN2 for the first.
The other thing that frustrates me is no disrespect to Vince Carter or the announcer, which by the way is kind of disrespectful. I don't even know his name. I think it was Jason Bacati.
Something like that.
But that is clearly the ESPN D team right there. And we got the D team, and that's fine. It's the last series. Apparently, all the ESPN analysts say it's going to be one of the most fascinating series. The Blazers have a chance for the upset, but it's going to be a really good series. We're going to give you the crap announcers. Sorry, Vince Carter, I love you. But
and another thing on ESPN.
ESPN really sold last night.
In my opinion, the Nuggets were favored by 1 for this game. Therefore, whoever wins this game, it shouldn't be surprising. The Blazers steal game 1. We're not stealing. We're getting.
I understand it's a steal just because it's on the road.
Upsets.
But the headline was how the Blazers shocked Denver. I don't think it was.
Shocking.
I mean, I get stealing home court as the actual thing.
Yeah.
But let's go through the game.
Yeah, enough of ESPN.
Yeah, enough of ESPN, bro. So the Blazers win by 14 on the road. Damian Lillard, I want to see this: 10 for 25, 5 for 12, 13 assists, 34 points. That is fantastic from Dame. Not his most exquisite shooting night possible. Probably right around his averages. 5 for 12 from 3 is about what he shoots from 3, I would say. 10 for 25, that's a lot of shots, I will say. But I'm totally fine with it. He could have taken 35. It would have been fine. He was getting to the rim and getting hit. I don't necessarily think he was getting all the calls in the world, which is fine. I don't want to hear the excuse Nuggets versus refs. So the refs don't want to, that's fine. But, Dame puts in a masterful performance, especially passing the ball, especially in that first half. He had so many assists in the first half. Right, whether it be to Melo. Can we just talk about Melo for a second?
Carrying the bench in general.
Yeah, we can talk about the bench in general. Carrying the Blazers in that first quarter.
Yeah, I mean Melo. They early boozed the Melo for some reason. I mean,
because Nuggets fans suck.
But it's a decade ago, buddy. So
sorry,
chill. Nuggets fans. Just a lot of things happening not on the court. Just annoying me about the Nuggets. But Melo 4 for 8 from 3. Simons 4 for 5 from 3. I mean, Simons came into this league as probably not going to be a spot-up shooter.
If you told me that Anthony Simons in his third year, basically he's still a young guy. We used to have Trent and Simons. They were. I don't think anyone ever really said this, but they were kind of the unspoken backup backcourt. Mm-hmm. Like that was gonna be not necessarily the next Dame and CJ, but that was Dame 2.0, like his back.
Yeah.
So then we're like, okay, Gary Trent's obviously killing it. He's gonna be much better than Simons. Simons is kind of the long-term project. And then in 1 year, Simons is putting in valuable playoff minutes. And as much as I love Gary Trent, flip him for a championship caliber player in Norman Powell. That is great. That's great work. That's great work. And it worked out last night, because we might not be saying this because Simons is gonna shoot 0 for 5 one game, and that's fine. And then he's not gonna have any value. Like for example, Carmelo Anthony last night pours in
12 first quarter points.
At least 9. He had 3 threes and the and one.
Yeah.
And then I think it was early fourth when Nuggets made that run. He comes down and throws up 3 bricks with no ball from it, and that's the enigma of Carmelo Anthony. It's like it just comes down to shot making for the bench.
You give and you take, and
because of our offense.
First quarter run when the Nuggets were
that was big.
The Nuggets were up 8 or something, but
out rebounded us, out hustled us, out energized us, and now let's talk about that.
coming out the gate, I mean, yes, we are so glad we won game one, but we cannot come out the gate like that again. Just Nurkic ended up having a great game, shooting the ball well, getting rebounds, playmaking, but that first quarter...
The Blazers and the Nuggets are both, I saw this on the stats, they are two of the... I think they're both in the top 5 or top 8 in the league in first quarter scoring. So both teams come out extremely hot, really set the tone for the game. And the Nuggets did that. It wasn't necessarily scoring. And in playoff basketball, it's not going to look as easy as regular season basketball. So it's all about the hustle plays and the rebounds and second chance points. And the Nuggets were absolutely annihilating us. Now, I know they have the size advantage with MPJ being 6'10", Aaron Gordon probably 6'10".
With bunnies.
And with bunnies. Hops and Jokic, we're starting Powell who's 6'6" on a good day. But that was really frustrating as a fan to see the Blazers in the first quarter just getting outworked by the Nuggets. And I think we adjusted. Nurk settled in, like you said, and we started to really find a place in the game.
Let's talk about Nurk. Yeah, I thought Nurk played really good defense from the second quarter on Jokic. Terry's game plan, which again we'll go into in depth later, was we're not going to double Jokic because Jokic is such a good playmaker, and he ended up having only 2 assists.
Which is a fantastic game plan.
So we leave Nurkic one-on-one with Jokic, and you're not going to stop Jokic. He's the MVP. But Nurkic, he brought energy offensively in that second half with a couple big dunks, and he held his own on defense. Ended up playing... double the time of Cantor. I mean, we've seen a little more staggered minutes throughout the year. But props to Nurkic on holding his own and playing a great game, minus those first, 5 minutes.
Yeah, and let's just look at the stat line.
7 of 10, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, that's a great game.
With a steal, too. I want him to get one of those 5x5 games again. He can do it. I remember he did it against the Kings a couple years ago, but every time he puts in a game.
That's actually crazy to think about now that I just think more in depth. 5 steals, 5 blocks, just in general.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Yeah. Anyway, so Nurk, comes through, and that just shows we are finally a healthy team, I must say. And I know I'm looking at this through rose-colored glasses, but I really do think we can take that next step and possibly, even with LA, I think we could possibly beat LA just because our offense is so good. If we get Zach Collins back, that he brings defensive intensity. You pair him with Cantor off the bench. That's basically how we beat Denver in the second round in 2019. It was Zach Collins playing that whole fourth quarter. He hit the huge three. Yeah, Evan Turner, but he's not on our team.
I'm talking just bench can play a big factor here.
Yeah, no, bench plays a huge factor, and we just don't have any defense off the bench. We actually have zero defense.
That's what
Melo, Ant, and Cantor. We shorten the rotation to 8 guys. So, if we get Collins back, whether it be later in this series or hopefully if we win this series against Phoenix or LA, I'm not looking ahead. I will not do that. But that's just something I saw. But let's go to Norman Powell. Let's talk about Norman Powell. Really rough stat line. Played 37 minutes, which was the second highest. He went 3 for 11, 1 for 4, with 4 assists, 3 rebounds, only 10 points.
He was the only negative on
plus minus,
but I really don't think that shows what he brought to the game. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Norman Powell, here's the thing. So he goes 3 for 11 and 1 for 4 from 3. If this was Alfred Aminu, Mo Harkless, all Blazer fans are crying. We're mad. We're like, oh my gosh, Dame has no help. Dame passed out of the double team, which we'll talk about later. The Nuggets did not do much of that, which was interesting. But every time Powell got the ball, I just felt like he was going to make the right play. Some of the shots did not go in, which is fine. It is a make or miss league, but he was getting to the rim. He made his free throws. And again, what doesn't show up in the box score is his defense and just championship mentality and his acumen on the defensive side of the ball. And I think he really brings that to the table and kind of sets the standard on defense, especially, and gets the boys to play some defense.
Yeah, Dame's talked about that, the conversations he's had with Powell, just about getting to a championship level team. And that trade, while a lot of people were mad at the time, or Powell's a little older, that we need to maximize this team now.
Let me just say something about the trade. Gary Trent Jr., if he has a breakout year in a weak East, he could become an all-star. I believe it. He could become an all-star. But do not get mad at the Blazers for making that trade, because Powell is the player we need right now, because we don't care what's going to happen in 8 years when Damian Lillard is retired. Damian Lillard needs help right now. If you want to win a championship, you get win-now players. And Gary Trent Jr. is more of, I think, has not yet hit his prime. We can't wait around for that. So I applaud the trade. I love Gary Trent Jr., wish him nothing but the best, but that had to be said. Okay, moving on. Rocco plays great defense.
Yeah, I mean...
And Nurk, we can kind of lump them together. So Rocco's a very good team defender, not exactly individual. But I think Powell brings that individual defense. He really gets down and clamps. Same with Nurk.
Who was Covington was kind of mixed on MPJ and Gordon.
So they
right?
put... Obviously...
He was on Gordon the majority, I feel like.
Yes, and, to be honest, it was... Actually, I think Powell and Rocco were interchangeable.
Yeah.
But I think Powell may have played a lot of early minutes on Gordon because Mike Malone was sending it. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I did see that. Sorry. Michael Malone was sending the ball into Aaron Gordon just because of the pure size advantage every possession early in that game. You could see Denver's strategy, which we will also talk about later. But Rocco plays great defense. He had a huge block on one play I saw.
Oh, on Gordon, yeah.
Yeah.
Gordon.
He ended up scoring, but just, the recovery was good. And even Rocco, literally 8 points, that's fine. 2 for 4 from 3,
that's all we need.
5 rebounds, and good defense, that's all we need.
Second best plus
timely 3-pointers.
Well, let's talk quickly just about the final starter, because CJ McCollum had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Kind of a CJ stat line, though.
That's a CJ stat line. From 21 points on 20 shots, 8 for 20. That's fine. That's good.
He had some big shots, but he wasn't completely on fire from the mid-range.
He wasn't Game 7 Siege.
Yeah, which is what we've come to expect, especially in his career year. But, still want to applaud CJ. I thought he had a good enough game. But, if he can get going in these next couple games, that just is another plus for this team.
Yeah, I agree. Blazers shooting 48% from 3, which is very good. I don't anticipate that every game in this series. But I do expect somewhere in the 40s, I will say, low 40s. We're that good of a team, and Dame and CJ get locked in. CJ 3 for 7 from 3. I didn't feel like he was lighting it up, but that's still a decent stat line.
Good stat line. Let's talk about just some of their guys. We can go MPJ first. He was... Wow. Every time we saw I feel like he was chucking at the end of the game. Maybe I don't remember right.
A couple,
I
but
he was really efficient all night, and then suddenly
he's 12 for 21, but 1 for 10 from 3. So if you
did he miss a 2? No.
No.
He did not miss a single 2. Shot.
What do you mean?
He went 1 for 10 from 3. He missed 9 shots from the field. He went 11 for 11 from 3.
From 2?
From 2, excuse me, and 1 for 10 from 3. So, he got his inside the 3-point arc.
Yeah, he scored everything from 2, which is, again, the Blazers, that's why they won this game, because Denver made how many threes? 11 threes.
30%.
They only shot 30, but the Blazers shot 19. That's 8 more threes. And you could see, MPJ is going to be their, from their starters, it's MPJ and Jokic, but in terms of volume, MPJ is their sharpshooter. So when your sharpshooter, big 3-point threat, is going 1 for 10 from 3, that does not bode well at all. I do expect MPJ to pick it up a little bit. He's also young, though. And with Jamal Murray yapping in your ear the whole game, I don't know. Let's talk about Jamal Murray. We'll talk about Jamal Murray. He is on Denver.
He might be the guy that's going to annoy me this entire series. I think he was forced to sit down in the second half, but he was actually on the physical court.
I will say, I don't know if you saw this, but I was in the highlights I was watching a little bit last night. Every time, especially in that first half, Denver made a play, Jamal Murray would get up and then be yell some defensive instructions because I guess he thinks he's the head coach or something. And then Melo would hit a three on the other end, and I just would look at Zach Collins. He'd just turn and be like, "Yeah, boy," down at Jamal Murray. Zach Collins I love Zach. Zach does got some swag, but yeah, Jamal Murray is going to be one of those guys that annoys me. That was just a little thing about the game last night. Back to the Nuggets starting roster.
They have no guards that can match our guards at all.
Austin Rivers 1 for 5 from 3. I expected that. Facu, honestly, he shot better than I thought.
Yeah, he's not going to shoot the ball unless he's wide open. So, I mean, he got his 2 threes he hit were sure. There was a slight contest at the end, but they were open shots. I mean,
but I mean,
you're an NBA
just
player,
think about, like, they just don't have any
I mean, the
depth.
I don't know if PJ Dozier or Will Barton's going to be back, but they really need them.
They need them bad because when you're like, Jokic goes basically 50% from the field and 50% from 3 with 16 rebounds, 34 points, and you lose by 14. That's almost like a Dame stat line like last year when Dame was pouring in and the Blazers team was just bad.
I mean, Marcus Howard is a two-way player. He was in the G League bubble earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of players have come out of the G League bubble and been great, like Jordan Poole or something like that. But Marcus Howard, I would argue and say their 2 guards off the bench are better than their starters. Like, I feel like Monte Morris should be starting. Maybe they just want him to get some just good players off the bench. But
I really don't want to be, as a Blazer fan, like, cocky or arrogant. But from a pure, like, just basketball standpoint, if they don't get Barton and PJ Dozier back, I don't think this is a super long series. I really don't. And I don't want my words to be bitten. I don't want the words to come back to bite me. But that's where I'm at right now. Let's talk about strategies for each team. So the Blazers come out, and they came out with we're going to let Jokic score mentality, but we are not going to let him play make because that's where he is at his most dangerous, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was one of Terry's best game plans this year because, I mean, like, he saw his game plan, he stuck with it. Jokic was hitting shots, he didn't waver from the game plan, and down the stretch it proved to help us because their guys couldn't continue with shots.
Exactly.
So
and
the trust there was huge.
There was a couple minute stretch in the second quarter where Jokic, like, I think it was 3 or 4 straight times, just backed down Canner with ease and just laid it in. But that was part of the game plan because, with an MVP player, you're going to have to give up something. Yeah. You can't completely shut him down. So you're either going to let him get 34 and 1 assist, or you're going to let him get 23 and 15 assists. You know what I mean? Like, and I think the Blazers picked the right thing. You cannot let Jokic play make because that's where he's most dangerous. You have to let him get his and then lock down everyone else. And they still didn't even lock down MPJ. MPJ had 25.
You just don't want to let the other guys get hot, get confidence, get their shots. Because Jokic is always going to have confidence. He's always going to be skilled enough to get points. But if the other guys are also feeling confident and also getting some points, you could be in for a long night. Yep. And Terry said you guys aren't allowed to do that.
It's very interesting because it's not exactly when people like we gotta shut down their star. It's we shut down their points and make them pass the ball. But Jokic is so good at that. The Blazers were like, we're gonna let you score. We're gonna let you get your 2s. MPJ, we're gonna let you get all the 2s in the world, and we're gonna make 3s. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, it's 3-point shooting.
Looking back, what was Malone's game plan? I mean, they didn't really they doubled Dame, but they really just played one-on-one, hope Composite get under his skin. And Dame turned it on in the third quarter, threw Composite to the floor, and
I could tell on the offensive end, Denver's strategy was to just take advantage of the size, crash the glass hard. They got Aaron Gordon, MPJ, and post up against smaller defenders. The Blazers. It's very easy to get the Blazers to switch. I don't really understand it sometimes because you're already undersized, so why put Dame quickly switch on MPJ? It doesn't matter. But the point is that, Denver wanted to take advantage of their size very early on, and I think throughout the game. But on the defensive end, I was a little surprised because, teams know the way to stop Dame is a hard trap at half court. And that's nothing against Dame's skill. That's just, it's hard. You can't beat 2 guys off the dribble right when you cross half court. And they didn't really do that. In fact, like Jokic, dropped a lot of drop coverage. Dame would pull up 3s at, shots he easily makes. He was not hitting.
I know.
But I think that was another smart thing by the Blazers. I will say this. They were constantly putting Jokic in pick and rolls, try to tire him out on the defensive end. Because when you're that big and that, he's just a big dude. So the change in direction and, like, cutting back and forth against a guard for 48 minutes, that is very difficult for Jokic to do. And it hopefully slows him down on the offensive end. If it means you're really pushing Jokic and trying to get him tired on the defensive end and he's front irons a 3 late in the game, you've done your job.
Final thing from Terry. do you like this rotation? Do you want it to stay a man? Anybody you see getting in minutes here and there, like Lil Nas or Derrick Jones Jr. for defense, or is this just
so the interesting thing is like I think for this series I like this rotation. It could change if we get blown out next game, so you never know. But I think if anyone was going to get minutes, it'd be either Nas, DJJ, or Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, because those are three pretty interchangeable guys that bring really good defense who don't have a shot. They can't shoot, really. And Derrick Jones Jr. shot a career high this year, like 35%.
Still wasn't even that good, but
which wasn't that good, but like I'd rather have him in the game than Alfred Aminu. Mm-hmm. Like no shade to Aminu, I love you, but like.
All right, last thing before we do a little segment game, whatever you want to call it. We brought some energy down here tonight.
We did bring some energy. We were.
I don't know if I've ever been that hyped for a game.
So all of our entire family, big Blazers fans. I really became a fan when I was probably around when Dame got drafted. So Dame's kind of always been on the team for me. Like I remember watching them a little bit back in like the Roy era, but I was really young. We were born in the very early 2000s. Yeah. So we're pretty young. But just this was one of the game one in the first round. There's nothing like it. First playoff game,
especially
and we were really excited. We were screaming when Dame hit a three. We were we were clapping. The Blazers had a good defensive.
We're high-fiving every single time we make a good play.
We're high-five. It was great.
I was sweating down here.
Yeah, we were actually sweating.
A lot of fun to watch that game.
Let's do a little. So we have a little game here. It's basically game one trends. It's will it happen again or will it not? So I'm just gonna say something that happened in game one, and you say will it happen again in game two? I'll start. MPJ 1 for 10 from 3.
Don't think it's going to happen again, but on the flip side, I don't think he's going to go perfect from 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to balance out. He'll still shoot.
He'll still have his 25.
He'll keep his 25. He's a great scorer. Can't deny that. There was someone in the comments on our last video saying MPJ was going to give us the work this entire series. So I'll see you again in the comments after that performance.
But that's fine. MPJ and Jokic can give us the work, and we can weather the storm.
But I do think he will shoot a little better from 3.
Interesting.
Another 3-point shooting aspect. Do you think the Blazers bench, specifically Melo and Ant, will shoot like that again?
No, I don't.
Same?
I don't, which is tough because when they shot, combined 8 for 13. That is really, really good. And Simons is a shooter. I think Simons can, if he takes 5 threes, I think he can make 2 a game pretty easily. And Melo, if he goes, here's the thing about Melo. When we have that Melo, he played really well, +6, which is good. But imagine if he didn't make those shots, he's a negative very, very easily. Yeah. That's the thing. Melo had a couple good defensive plays though. He had a couple good strips early.
When he's active,
honestly he kind of took over the game for like a 1-minute stretch there to get the Blazers back in, which was really good. Okay, I'll go. We'll go Jokic 1 assist. Okay, we'll say Jokic under 5 assists for game 2. Does that happen again?
I genuinely think that probably could happen, just because we have no reason to change our game plan. I do think the Nuggets will switch it up a little bit.
I wonder what they will do.
Maybe
because there's really not much you can cut more on offense, be more active.
You could do a little they didn't really run many pick and rolls with Jokic as the primary ball handler, with Gordon or something. Just try to get Nurkic off of him. They more just were trying to move around Jokic and try to get switches other than Jokic. So maybe they try to do that, but But
that's the thing. The Blazers did not go to double team Jokic, because if you go to double team, needs the guy on the floor, and Jokic will pick out the pass. He's that good. But the Blazers were content with letting Jokic, just back down and score, which is a very interesting thing, but it works.
And if Jokic gets to the point where he is unstoppable, and you got to double him, you're not going to double off MPJ or Gordon. You're going to double off of Campazzo and Rivers. And I still think odds are probably going to be in our favor there. So
yeah, I'd rather have Campazzo taken.
Them not having Jamal Murray is
huge. Him on the sidelines.
We're still beating them with Jamal.
And you think?
I don't know. I'm not going to go there.
That would be a really, really good series.
That would be very good.
Okay, let's just quickly run through the games we're recording this Sunday morning. Let's go through the games today. So, we'll just quickly, it's Eastern Conference, we don't care as much. Washington, Philly. Who do you have in this game?
I got Philly. I mean, they've just got
close or no?
I think it's gonna be a lot like a Blazers Warriors from a couple years ago. Like a little close.
Yeah. So close through 3.
Like 10 to 15 though.
Okay.
No match down low.
Atlanta and New York.
Atlanta, New York. I got New York.
At Madison Square Garden. By the way, the tickets are absurd.
Fans. Like they're gonna have a lot of fans.
They were like
there.
$800 for bleeds, like nosebleeds.
Speaking about tickets, real quick, Nets struggled to sell a bunch of tickets. They were going somewhere under 100 for a playoff because they were struggling. They ended up having some fans there, but still, that's just a little tangent. But I got Knicks.
Okay, and then for the Western Conference games that matter to Portland a little bit. LA and Phoenix, 3:30 on ABC. This is obviously, when you have LeBron and AD on your team, this is the prime time, the big slot, time TV slot. Let's just talk about really something quick. So LeBron violates COVID-19 protocols, and the NBA says, it's okay, buddy, you can still play. Do you have any issue with that?
I do have an issue with it, but, I would have been kind of mad if he didn't get to play. I do think, everyone's saying LeBron's the only player they would do this for. I think just any general all-star player would probably get this. We saw Karis LeVert in the bubble, in the play-in, didn't get to play. He's just not on that level. I think if the Dame had this, I think they would kind of allow it for Dame, but
yeah, it's kind of like
a really tough place.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword in a way, because it's on one end you're mad and you're LeBron gets special treatment, he runs the league, but on the other hand it's ratings matter, and this is playoffs. You want to see the teams play with full strength.
If I'm Phoenix, actually I was about to say,
if I'm Phoenix,
I want to play a LeBron team, but
okay, if I'm Phoenix, they would say in the media, we want to play them fully healthy. We want to beat the best Lakers team. In their heads, they're it wouldn't be so bad if LeBron didn't play.
We just want to get a win early.
But that game is huge. I personally, as a Blazers fan, would rather play Phoenix in the second round.
If Phoenix sweeps and looks like world champions, I want to play Phoenix no matter what.
Because we match up well with them.
And then, but even we beat the Lakers earlier this year.
True, but
they were
LeBron
fully healthy then.
LeBron playoff. Are you talking about early in the year?
Season?
Yeah. But a Phoenix win or a Phoenix series win and a Blazers series win, we have a path to the Western Conference Finals.
I'm indifferent on that game.
Yeah, I would love. I don't know.
Because
I think that game will go the distance too.
As much as people hate LeBron, LeBron is our generation's Jordan. So obviously you want to see greatness.
I would love to see
LeBron keep winning championships. I really hate that he went to the Lakers. I wasn't a huge basketball.
I wish he stayed in the
East.
East.
On the Heat, so I didn't really care. When he was on Cleveland, though, all those Cleveland series, I don't know if it was more my hatred for the Warriors or I wanted to see LeBron win. I wanted to see LeBron win.
I'm always that guy who roots for the underdog, and LeBron's an underdog, but LeBron carried really bad teams against Golden State juggernauts.
I just wish he didn't go to the Lakers just because Portland wanted to play them.
Yeah, it's tough because you want to see LeBron win titles to compete with Jordan, but at the same time, if he's going to do that, he's knocking the Blazers out. And I'm sorry, but the Blazers take precedence.
That's why in 2019, I wanted the Blazers to win so bad because LeBron didn't make the playoffs. And, if the Portland Trail Blazers were to beat LeBron in the playoffs, the amount of hate he would get is just insane. It would never stop. But that doesn't matter.
Okay, but that game 3:30 today, as we're recording this is going to occur soon on ABC. And then the last game tonight, which is, I think, both teams, this series is getting slept on, Memphis and Utah. And the reason why I say that is because
John Morant's been on his Grizzlies.
Okay. All right. Shout out J. Cole and his album. But Memphis and Utah. So Utah, probably a 1 seed that's been a little disrespected in my eyes. I don't think anyone's talking about them being going to the finals. It's either everyone's talking about the LA teams. But Memphis, especially after beating Golden State, everyone's just written that series off. No one wants to watch. Memphis get annihilated by Utah. Which, by the way, I think the series goes to 5. I think it's a 5-game series. But the great thing about the Grizzlies is, as much as they're annoying, they compete their butts off. Dylan Brooks, kind of annoying player to watch. I don't hate him. He's just annoying. He's really annoying to watch.
He's playing the Blazers. I hate him.
Okay, well, that's fine. But he competes his butt off, and he's a really good player. Same with Ja. So I think Utah wins that series in 5.
I'll say 4.
Utah with the sweep. Interesting. So that's kind of a preview of the games today. Kind of last little bit before we go. Let's just talk about game 2. What do you see happening? What do you expect? It is tomorrow, correct?
Tomorrow night at 10 Eastern time.
Yes. So
back at Ball Arena. Stupid name.
Oh my!
I like their old name, Pepsi Center. It was a solid name. But expectations for this next game.
I expect Norman to shoot better.
Some guy, I think Michael Malone's a really good coach.
Yeah, he will make.
Not Mike.
Michael, excuse me, but
Michael
he will make
Malone,
adjustments.
Yeah, he'll make good adjustments. I think this game is going to be really good. I think.
But you can only make it.
It's not one of the two teams is going to start super hot. It's either Denver's going to come out and be like, "We need to win this game. We're going to go off," or Blazers are going to be like,
"That's true. This is a must-win for Denver if you really think about it."
Yeah, you don't want to go back to Portland where we could be seeing close to 10,000 fans in the arena,
which would be fantastic. But yeah, that's a great point. This is like Denver's going to play with a sense of urgency, which I don't want to know, because the Blazers last night were getting destroyed by Denver on the glass, and Denver wasn't even playing, I feel like, as hard as they could. So the Blazers have to match the intensity. I know Dame will, but I need Nurk to be an animal down there. Honestly, I know that sounded really cringy, but I need Nurk to really ball out underneath. I need Powell. I don't know. It's going to be a great game. But Michael Malone, like, what adjustments can you make when your guards? I mean, you can't do anything with guard play. You really can't ask more from Campazzo and Rivers. I mean, you can.
They're going to do something. I mean, there's probably so many things. I mean, who knows? Maybe Will Barton is going to play this next game. I don't know what his injury.
Yeah.
But
and Will Barton's a solid player.
He's got to come back this series if they want to really compete. I don't want to say that and eat my words, but I'm just speaking as now a biased NBA fan. Not biased. Unbiased NBA fan. They need Will Barton. They need PJ Dozier. They just need more bodies that are actually good NBA players. So
yeah, but that'll do it.
Healthy.
Yeah, that'll do it from episode 7 of this podcast. Damian Lillard and the Blazers take Game 1. According to ESPN, they shock. I wouldn't call it a shock. I say they steal home court, and it is looking very possible that Blazers, you win your home games in Portland, there, and you are moving on to the next round. Another thing is winning. Again, I do not want to eat my words, but from a pure just basketball standpoint, if the Blazers can win this series relatively quickly and LA Phoenix goes deep, that's rest. That's valuable rest for Dame.
Very valuable rest.
But that'll do it.
Something we don't normally get.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll do it for us. We'll come back Tuesday after Game 2 in a couple days. Talk about Game 2. Hopefully the Blazers will be up 2-0.
Yeah, make sure to drop us a like.
Yep.
Subscribe. 90 subscribers.
Get us to 1,000. We want 1K so badly.
We want 1K. And
turn on those post notifications.
5-star on Spotify if you're listening there. And
yeah.
Rip City on the ass.
Rip City on the ass. Game 1 goes to the Blazers. Game 2.
Love to see
tomorrow night, 10 o'clock in Denver. We will see you later.
Peace.